So it's time I talk about the Assegai. Maxx grip mainly, but just in general. So I chucked this on a little while ago after going back and forth with a couple of Maxx terras and did the Maxx grip DH Assegais a while ago and kind of got on with them well. Norco site that I tested had an Assegai Maxx Terra on the front, and I'd spent when I got onto that bike, I'd spent probably a good few weeks on this tyre, on the Maxx grip EXO Plus Assegai up the front on my Trek, and was getting used to it. So at the start there was the corner knobs. You have to be really, really well aware of where they give way, because you get the bike here, you know, there's so much grip everywhere on this tyre. You get it to about probably there somewhere, and it just goes, there's no warning, there's no nothing, it just goes from grip to slip, just from all to nothing. And after a little while I got used to that, and I got used to not putting the bike so far over, and I was really enjoying it. I was actually really starting to get along with this Assegai, and I thought, yeah, maybe this is the tyre. But I also noticed that it would get bogged down in sandy bits, whereas a DHR II or a DHF, not that I've had much experience with a DHR II on the front, but the DHF especially doesn't bog down like that. It was a characteristic that I'd only felt on this Assegai. So that was like a little thing in the back of my head, but not too bad. And the more I rode it, the more I liked it. I loved just the grip on the top. So the grip from here to here is absolutely superior, but that last bit of knob on the edges here, it's just not there for you. So once you get used to it, it's not an issue at all. You just avoid that lean. And I thought, yeah, maybe this is my tyre. And I thought I'll hold my opinions until I've spent time on the tyres that I'm used to. So DHF, Maxx grip, but also the DHR II Maxx grip. So it's got to be Maxx grip on the front for me. Maxx Terra is okay and good in a lot of situations, and great for better wear, a little bit more efficiency, I guess, a little bit harder rubber. But at the front, I want supple grip. I want it to be supple, and I want it to have grip. So Maxx grip is the way, and it's just safer. The more grip you can have up the front, the safer your ride's going to be. Potentially, you could build up the trust for that grip and start riding crazy, whatever. But yeah, it still is what it is. Now, going back to the DHR II, my main thought was, I wonder if the DHR II can get rid of this vague spot that people talk about in the DHF. So I'm used to the vague spot, I don't mind it at all. I'll ride this tyre here and here, I don't ride it there. So I'm used to the DHF, I love it. It's just got so much confidence for me. I can put it all the way down and know that there's grip, and when it does start to let go, it goes grip, a little bit less grip, and then goes on you. It lets you know when you're too far. So I love that about the DHF. But the vagueness, I have noticed it going on and off of different tyres. I have noticed it, and it's like when you're on a fire road and you just need to veer slightly to the left on a loose surface, you get right onto that channel where there's nothing there, and the bike tends to float a bit, which, it is what it is. You get used to it. For me, it's not an issue at all. It's I know that's coming, and it's kind of the drifty spot. You let it drift a bit there. So my thought was, I wonder if the DHR II can get rid of this, because these braking lugs kind of take up that channel a little bit. So Assegai absolutely got rid of it. Assegai's got so much grip. The Assegai is absolutely superior all the way across the top to either of these tyres. Yeah, no doubt. The only downside of that on the top is the bogging that the Assegai does. It bogs when you load it into soft stuff. So it kind of like, it slows you down and feels like it throws your weight forward, which I don't really experience on these tyres. So I thought I'll leave the DHF down. I won't put it back on. I'll go straight to a DHR II. DHR II, instantly, no braking period, no adapting to the corner edges, no nothing. Instantly could lay it over further and had way more confidence cutting and pushing it into loose left and right handers. So that was an instant realization that, yeah, the Assegai is just the reason I like it so much is because I've adapted to that disappearing edge, but it's not a non-issue. I can't have that disappearing edge. So the Assegai is no longer my it wasn't ever going to be my go-to, I don't think, but I'm not as high on it now as I was. I love it. I think it's really good, and you can see, you know, in the Norco video especially, and the Marin video I've just done, the E2 video, that I've got no problems with it. I've got no problems getting along with it, but going back to it off of different tyres becomes very apparent that there's no grip on the edge. There's no grip on the very edge. So it's out the door for me now. I'm back to, am I going to be DHR2 or DHF? So the Assegai is no longer in the mix for me. Even though it's a killer tyre, it's not, I don't want to crash going around the corner. I don't want to lose the front and rip all the skin off my arm or my forearm in a gravel grind. So, which, you know, can happen with any tyre obviously, but these give me way more confidence. Same grip, same rubber, same company, but you can just lay it over further on the sides. And the DHR2 has gotten rid of the vagueness that the DHF has. I don't think the DHR2 is as supple as the DHF still. I think the DHF just gives me more of a like a plush DH feeling, and the DHR2 gives me a more precise, maybe a little more efficient, maybe not, it's hard to say, but precise and a little more engaged everywhere on the tyre, not just on the edges. So being that the corner edges are a little bit closer together, I don't know if that's made any real difference for me. I'm not too sure. I'd have to spend more time on it, but yeah, the Assegai's not my tyre, so I thought it was going to be. You never know until you go back and try other stuff again. So there's other tyre brands obviously that are making killer tyres. I know the Vittoria Mazda's pretty decent. I've tested that before in the trail casing up the front. It was a bit kind of bouncy and whatever. I've got an Enduro casing 2.6 here at the moment that I can chuck on the front. Now that we're getting a bit wetter, that'll dig in really, really well, but it's not the super soft rubber that these are. It's more like a Maxx Terra, a little harder again than a Maxx Terra. So excellent grip profile, excellent tread profile, sorry, not grip profile, but just lacking a little bit in grip on that Mazda, but just still exceptional. If the Mazda could have the durometer of this Maxx grip, or closer to the durometer of this Maxx grip, I'd say it'd be superior, because it really, really hooks, but it's just a little bouncy and a little hard on the rubber. So that's what I think about the Assegai. I've been asked a million times in the questions about, you know, Assegai and what I think and why my thoughts are bouncing around on it and whatnot. But that's kind of where I sit now. Might change in the future again, you don't know, but that's what I've found going back and forth and back and forth and back on Minions versus the Assegai. The Assegai is a little bit, it doesn't really feel like it's slower, but it bogs down and becomes slower when you load it up. So apart from that, it's a killer tyre. Don't let my opinion skew you if you've bought 10 Assegais and you think, oh, these things are killer. It's your preference, not my preference. You ride what you like and what you prefer. I'm just trying to give you guys the intricacies of what I feel, in case it helps you guys make decisions. So yeah, DHR2 for now, and we'll see how that goes.